Defendants continue to threaten and harm the entire LGBTQ YouTube community by using their unprecedented power over free speech and expression as a pretext to systematically target, suppress, stigmatize, terrorize, steal, and financially harm the video content creator. That sounds terrible. It really does. And I think they're allowed to do every bit of that. Maybe they're hoping to survive a motion to dismiss, and if they do, they would get into discovery, and they would be able to ask for a copy of the algorithm.
This is a community-supported legal education channel. Find out how you can support our mission at the links in the description below.
So this was filed, I think, Tuesday, the 13th? Yeah. This is a lawsuit against Google YouTube by the Davino Group, Chris Knight, Kelso Dulé, or Kelso maybe, Cameron Steele, Bria and Chrissy LLC, Bria Cam, Chrissy Chambers, Chase Ross, Brett Summers, and Lindsay Amer. And they're going to argue some things that you might already have heard people argue about. You might have seen some of this before. Let's take a look. YouTube holds itself out as a forum for freedom of expression. Defendants begin to compete with YouTubers. Defendants' toolkit of unlawful speech suppression, restricted mode, advertising restrictions, AI filtering, deletion of thumbnail images, canceling of new video notifications, excluding LGBTQ content, recommending hate speech, playing related advertisements related to hate speech or anti-LGBTQ sentiments, and same thing in the comments section, defendants were caught censoring users, promises were lip service, etc. And it's 85 pages long, or 84 pages long, so we're going to go over it. I've highlighted some parts out, and hopefully this will make it easier. Glitterbomb, G News, Bria and Chrissy, What's the Safe Word, and I think uppercase Chase. I forgot to highlight uppercase Chase there. Let's pay proper respect to uppercase Chase there. The LGBTQ plus plaintiffs are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, transsexual, or queer content creators, viewers, users, and or online consumers of YouTube who bring this lawsuit to redress defendants Google YouTube's discrimination, fraud, unfair and deceptive business practices, unlawful restraint of speech, and breach of consumer contract rights on behalf of themselves and others who use the global social media site known as YouTube. Google YouTube control and regulate more than 95% of the public video-based content and communications in the world by controlling and regulating virtually all of the public video content in the United States and the rest of the world. Google YouTube operate YouTube as the largest for-profit forum dedicated to free speech and expression in the history of the world. While I don't disagree that YouTube and Google are large, do they really control virtually all of the public video content in the United States? Isn't there Hulu and Amazon and Vimeo and sure, smaller platforms, but we've also got Mixer now, just got Ninja. Twitch is out there. Now, if they meant to say, for, general variety content creators and not just for gamers or just for video professionals or something like that, sure. YouTube is large, I'll give you that. The business model is simple enough. Solicit and induce the public to post, view, and communicate through video content on the YouTube platform by inviting the public to use YouTube as a place to engage in, quote, freedom of expression, freedom of information, freedom of opportunity, and freedom to belong. And this is from youtube.com/YT/about, according to their complaint. Defendants further represent that all persons who use this site are accorded the status of members of the YouTube community who are subject to viewpoint-neutral content-based regulations that defendant designates as the community guidelines. Google YouTube represent and warrant that these freedoms apply to all community members and shall be exercised and protected for each and every user. Indeed, in sworn testimony to the U.S. Congress, Google YouTube warrant that everyone's voice will be heard subject only to viewpoint-neutral, content-based rules and filtering under rules that apply equally to all members of the YouTube community regardless of the individual user's particular viewpoint or identity. In return, defendants monetize the video content of YouTube's users through a variety of means, including selling online advertising space to third-party advertisers, etc., entering into lucrative deals with third-party fact-checkers and content curators who are authorized to flag and proscribe content that they and defendants dislike, and more recently, creating, producing, marketing, distributing, and monetizing defendants' own video content, or monetizing content creation, marketing, and distributing through deals with large media companies such as Fox, NFL, HBO, PBS, to name a few. When it comes to LGBTQ+ members of the community, defendants have not kept their end of the bargain. Internal documents suggest that YouTube was never a truly free and open platform in accordance with the free speech and viewpoint neutral promises given to consumers. Indeed, defendants now describe themselves as a good censor. Rather than being free and open to all, defendants have abandoned YouTube's mission as a viewpoint neutral hosting platform and are increasingly engaged in a discriminatory and fraudulent profit scheme in which community members are now subjected to discriminatory, animus-based, and content-based regulations and restrictions designed to maximize defendants' financial and political interests. As such, the financial bargain upon which YouTube was built has now been broken. As I was saying in the Teo video, I don't think they're wrong. I think that they're going to lose the lawsuit. I don't want them to. We've seen this before, though. YouTube has a very strong contract. Contract probably overrides all this unless there really is some kind of antitrust argument to be made. And I'm not up on the antitrust law, my lawful masses. I'm very sorry about that one. Maybe we can work on that. But they're not wrong that YouTube was built on these promises, and then all of a sudden, all the promises changed, and all of a sudden there's this adpocalypse, and they cave into major media demands and all that, and all of a sudden the door is closing. And maybe it's even closed to some people, to a lot of people maybe. Maybe it's even closed to us going any further. I don't know if you've noticed, but we've been stuck at 106,000 subscribers for a number of months now. So what's that about? Did YouTube change the game for the bad, for the worse? Since 2016, defendants have exercised unfettered and absolute discretion to control, regulate, and restrict and manipulate the public video content and viewership of consumers on YouTube based not on the content of the video, but based on defendants' subjective animus, dislike, or commercial bias with respect to the viewpoint and or the identity of the content creator and or the intended audience. Now, there was a previous lawsuit, I think it was either the Prager University lawsuit or there might have been another one, that was denied because YouTube has the discretion under their contract to choose what videos go on their platform. Even under Section 230 of the Communication Decency Act, they have that safe harbor or immunity, and it has nothing to do with whether they tailor the content on the platform. Section 230 prevents them from liability for user publications. It does not somehow incur liability for them refusing to publish something. So that doesn't really change anything. What might change something is the LGBTQ nature. Things like gender, sexual orientation are federally protected classes. So maybe YouTube could be accused of this kind of discrimination against people based on their sexual orientation or gender, if they're transgender or if they are gay or lesbian or bisexual, homosexual, however, whatever word that I'm saying all these words on purpose because YouTube should not be selecting out these words and going, oh, you should be demonetized because gay people aren't advertising friendly. That's what they're accusing them of here. The trouble I have with this lawsuit from the get-go is we've seen these arguments before and they failed, and our channel suffers these same things. Like, I've complained about these same problems with our channel, and nowhere in our channel do I identify as a bisexual man. I just don't make it part of it. The only reason I just said it here was because I think it's actually a little relevant. I don't think I got treated differently because because of that. At least not on YouTube. I think I got treated differently, and I think that it was terrible, but I don't think it was because of my sexuality. Let's put it that way. Defendants brand LGBTQ content as shocking, offensive, or sexually explicit, not because of the video's content, but either because the viewpoints expressed involve what a senior Google YouTube content curator dubbed the gay thing, or because the content was posted by or viewed by YouTube community members who identify as gay. At the same time, in direct violation of their community guidelines and monetization rules, defendants use their absolute power and discretion over content regulation and monetization to promote, sponsor, and profit from violent, obscene, and threatening hate speech and online bullying directed at or against the LGBTQ community, including the plaintiffs. So they're saying that they get harassed and bullied on YouTube, and doesn't that suck? Because they don't get recognition from YouTube for monetization. Meanwhile, YouTube sells advertisements and such on pages that also have anti-LGBTQ or other hate speech on them. I get that it sucks. I'm with them on that. That's the things that they have in here, that they're gonna say some things down below about what gets said, and that's just the mild part. And yeah, that's terrible. I don't disagree. Is it a lawsuit? Is it a claim? Is it a legally recognizable claim? I don't think so. I have some issues with it. So I want them to succeed at least making their world cleaner for themselves in that sense. They shouldn't have to look at anti-LGBTQ stuff all the time. Like, I wouldn't want to go on my Unlawful Masses and see that all my suggested videos are like anti-lawyer things or something. I might laugh a little bit, but it's going to get a little old after a period of time. So I kind of get that, but I don't have a legal claim, do I? Most I can do is like click on the video, like where it says like, tell us why you don't want to see this video anymore. There's a little X and you click on it and you say, don't show me this, and tell us why. I don't know. I don't see a legal claim here yet, but let's keep going. Defendants effectuate their unlawful, discriminatory, fraudulent, anti-competitive, and unlawful attack on the rights of plaintiffs and the community by utilizing a complex and clandestine web of broad, overlapping, vague, discriminatory, and unlawful content-based speech regulations, filtering practices, data and information collection and surveillance, video monetization, and third-party advertising and content production schemes. That sounds terrible. It really does. And I think they're allowed to do every bit of that. I don't agree that they should discriminate against people like us. We try very hard to comply with the content guidelines and everything, and I would like them to be able to be legally held responsible for not providing clearer guidelines. I would like there to be a legal remedy for that. However, this strong language of how they're doing these clandestine things, maybe that's a little over the top. I don't know. Just saying, maybe. There's some more claims in here that I'm going to skip. Discriminatory, anti-competitive, unlawful conduct, etc. It's all very strong language, but very conclusory. Defendants continue to threaten and harm the entire LGBTQ YouTube community by using their unprecedented power over free speech and expression as a pretext to systematically target, suppress, stigmatize, terrorize, steal, and financially harm the video content creator, or viewed by the LGBTQ community, including but not limited to failing to apply content-based regulations and filtering equally to all as provided for in defendant's form consumer contract. Okay, so they're saying that there's a contract and that this would be a breach of contract of some kind because they haven't applied the filtering equally. Maybe they're hoping to survive a motion to dismiss, and if they do, they would get into discovery and they would be able to ask for a copy of the algorithm. Now, of course, YouTube is going to protect the algorithm like Coca-Cola protects the recipe for Coca-Cola. And I don't expect that anyone is actually going to get the algorithm. However, I betcha they can get some kind of confidentiality, either agreement or order from the court, and have some expert review the algorithm independently from Google and report back to the court. At the very least, not saying that this will survive a motion to dismiss. I have my doubts. But if this was able to survive a motion to dismiss and get into discovery, they'd have the right to ask for a review of the algorithm, basically. including but not limited to arbitrarily, capriciously, unfairly censoring, removing, suspending, restraining, suppressing, or demonetizing speech, video content, and channels of LGBTQ plus YouTubers solely because they are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, or queer, because they identify as such, because they address issues of interest to the LGBTQ plus community, or because they use tag words or keywords related to said community in association with their content to make it easier for viewers to locate their content. And there it is. There's the federal protected class discrimination. Let's continue and see how they keep going. Enforcing what defendants stated was a company policy of prohibiting gay users from advertising their content on YouTube because of the gay thing, and using that policy to stigmatize gay users or LGBTQ plus users and their content as shocking and sexually explicit solely because the users identify as gay. Yeah, this is a weird stigma that gay people face, is that gay is about the sex. Like, let's be clear that homosexual people, heterosexual people, bisexual people, we all like sex. Like, that's normal. That doesn't mean that we can be that we have to be inappropriate about it. Like, because someone is a certain sexual orientation doesn't have anything to do with whether they know better to be appropriate or inappropriate about their sexuality and their sex life. That's not a thing. But there is a stigma. There's a stigma out there that homosexuality somehow is about the sex. It's everybody. This is the weirdest, most discompassionate thing, or one of the most discompassionate things in humanity to me. I'm so confused about this because it's so easy for people to see how important it is to have a family and to love each other and to be compassionate and to teach each other and learn from each other and to help each other out. And then we're so quick to say, except for gay people. And I don't understand, because if you ever actually met people who love each other who also happen to be gay, that's just as normal as any relationship I've ever known. And the fact that they found somebody special in this confusing world of love and hate and what is real love versus what is somebody who's just looking for a way to survive. And I don't necessarily mean like that's the worst thing in the world. Like, probably that's the origin of being tribal and being in family units, is because it's such a hard world to survive in. Now we've made it easier for the sort of day-to-day survival, but still we've somehow complicated dating now, because it's the missions and goals are different, and people have different wants and needs and desires and goals and such. And yours truly has definitely been in relationships where people might not have had the relationship as the goal, and rather there was some ulterior motive in dating or marrying because someone was hoping to fix themselves, or maybe things will be better as soon as we get married, or as soon as we have a child. I've heard that one. I didn't fall prey to that one, but I have close friends who fell prey to that one. See if our relationship gets better when we have a child. So these are not problems that have to do with sexual orientation, aside from the physical problem of a gay couple not being able to procreate, but the desire to have a family and raise them properly and prepare a child for the world, et cetera, et cetera. These are not problems that are correlated to asexual orientation. What I'm trying to get at here is the complaint is not wrong. The complaint is a completely valid complaint. But I'm meaning complaint as in, when you complain about something. It is probably not making valid legal claims. So other things that they've done, demonetizing content of LGBTQ plaintiffs because they operate and publish content of an LGBTQ nature, that YouTube has promoted, monetized, profited, and distributed online hate speech, that YouTube has promoted individuals and groups with anti-LGBTQ messages by selling advertisements which undermine, criticize, disparage, or belittle members of the LGBTQ community. Again, terrible, but I don't see a legal claim. Selling advertising and you don't like the advertising isn't the same thing as hate speech, but I can understand not wanting to see it. Like I kind of get both sides of it, I think. Certainly, certainly other people can tell me what their perspective is, but that's my perspective. I'm not invalidating your perspective. Promoting YouTubers with anti-LGBTQ messages or with hate speech videos by recommending such videos to plaintiffs' viewers. Again, like, YouTube is allowed to run their recommendation engine the way they want, and if they get it wrong, or if you don't like the way they're running it, they're allowed to do it. You deal with it, you make your decision. You use this platform or not, or adjust how you use the platform. We've adjusted how we use the platform ever since the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth apocalypses. That YouTube has arbitrarily, capriciously, and unfairly removed individual subscribers from the list of viewers who have intentionally applied to be affiliated. Yeah, we've all complained about that. I don't know that that's an LGBTQ discriminatory thing. We've all had problems with subscribers not being notified, subscribers who are suddenly not subscribed, even though they claim they want to be subscribed, and they did click the subscribe button and it worked for a period of time. And this was all associated with the period of time when they were implementing the bell and all that. And I believe they even put forth a video explaining recently, yeah, they messed up with the notification system a couple times, maybe even a bunch of times. That's terrible. Again, terrible. Shouldn't happen. Can we be ticked off about it? Can we complain? Can we make YouTube videos and go post on Twitter and Tumblr and Reddit and everybody and complain and hate on YouTube about it? Sure. Is it a legal claim? I don't think so. Unilaterally changing the procedure for new video notifications. Yeah, same thing. And then this one, stealing, copying, altering, or violating the property rights pertinent to the content of LGBTQ plaintiffs. So I guess that's some kind of copyright violation, that they violated the copyrights or something. I don't know. Arbitrarily, capriciously, and unfairly excluding creators' original videos from YouTube's Up Next video recommendations. Okay, so if YouTube refused to recommend videos because they were LGBTQ plus related, that sounds like it could be discrimination against a protected class. Now, the protected class thing is usually in employment, but there is something in there for, public services or services that are offered to the public, and YouTube is definitely offering services to the public, but I don't know how much all of that is modified by the contract. And certainly YouTube might have a non-discriminatory explanation. That is the next step here. YouTube will make a motion to dismiss. I almost basically guarantee that YouTube will make a motion to dismiss. And it will say, not only do we have a contract and everything, but here's a whole bunch of non-discriminatory explanations. Or they might even say, we don't even have to explain our reasoning because it doesn't reach that level. Like, we have the discretion to make these decisions, whether or not they are discriminatory. They might say something like that. But if they do want to get into explanations, they're going to have a bunch of explanations why this is a non-discriminatory thing, or rather, it's not a discrimination based upon the protected class of sexual orientation or gender. And then this next one, fraudulently and deceptively inducing, very, very key word there, inducing YouTubers and the public to use YouTube by promising plaintiffs and the public that YouTube is a public forum dedicated to the four freedoms: expression, information, opportunity, and belonging, and a community where everyone's voice may be heard. Only 2, viewpoint and identity neutral content-based regulations that apply equally to everyone, then breaching those obligations in a way which financially injures and causes other reputational harms to LGBTQ plus YouTubers and consumers. That is fraud. So they literally said fraudulently, but inducing someone's reliance and then profiting from that misrepresentation. Meanwhile, they've relied on the misrepresentation. So what is closing the door behind you? Well, maybe YouTube has said, come to YouTube, start your career here. You can make a lot of money. And then we've done that. We've made money. Lawful Masses used to make more money than we make now before we were releasing daily videos. When we only did 2 videos or 3 videos a week, we were making more money than we're making now. But that was before the adpocalypse. So did they close the door in the sense that they got us in and then they changed the rules, and now we've relied on that. We've invested in cameras and people and making videos on the daily and everything. And then they just said, oh, well, we're just going to change the price of everything and the way we filter everything. And now maybe you wouldn't have decided to take this career on if you had known we were going to do this. But that was years ago, and now you've invested years and it's too late. So we got you. That's some kind of fraud or misrepresentation or detrimental reliance. I'm still not sure that this accusation rises to a level that is, first of all, fraud needs to be pled with particularity. So they need to really step through the step. We'll see. It's 84 pages. We're going to see. But they may really have to step through the steps of how exactly this is fraud. Maybe we'll see that later. Let's pay attention for it. As early as 2016, defendants admitted that their restraints unfairly discriminated against LGBTQ plus users like plaintiffs, hiding from view videos that reference same-sex relationships and other videos focused on pop culture from a feminist or queer perspective. When these restraints were exposed, YouTubers like Tyler Oakley and Gigi Gorgeous and others blasted the platform for bias. I guess this is just reinforcing that there is some kind of LGBTQ bias or anti-whatever bias on YouTube. There's some kind of bias on YouTube, I'll give it that. Let's see. Let's keep going. This is very long. Enough is enough. LGBTQ plus plaintiffs in this case have summoned the courage to challenge the world's largest corporate conglomerate and regulator of free speech by invoking their right to petition the courts to enforce the anti-discrimination, free speech, and consumer fraud laws to require defendants to honor their promises and their legal obligations to LGBTQ plus YouTubers and YouTube consumers. That's very strong language, and I applaud them for it. This may be more of like a public service announcement or a theatrical kind of thing. YouTube does not regulate free speech, and I'm not just being like a lawyer who's being obtuse, although certainly accuse me as you will. I'm saying that YouTube isn't regulating free speech. It's regulating speech, sure, but even though it says, we're a free speech platform, that doesn't bind them to the First Amendment. They didn't say we will obey First Amendment law. They said we're a free speech platform in so many words. I don't know that that's binding in that sense. I think YouTube is still allowed to use its own judgment to determine what free speech means to them. Again, if there's clear LGBTQ bias against a protected class, gender, or sexual orientation, yes, I think there could be some act here that rises to that level. It could happen. And this may be a giant fishing net that is looking for that. Maybe they're going to catch something in that net. You don't know unless you ask. You don't win unless you play, and you don't make it into the net unless you shoot. Michael Scott. So let's scroll down here. There's a lot more to this, so I'm going to start scrolling quickly. They go into the history of YouTube and how large they are, that it holds itself out as a forum for freedom of expression, that Senator Cruz has questioned YouTube's general counsel, Juniper Downs, and there's something about it being a neutral public forum for freedom of expression, that they've made a bargain with YouTubers, so they're trying to set up some kind of, we already have a contractual relationship, but they're trying to say that there's been some kind of reliance that then has, because of YouTube's changes, has incurred an injury, and that injury is somehow redressable. I'm going to guess that YouTube's terms of service are going to very quickly undo this, but we'll see. Bait and switch. Yep, there we go. Bait and switch fraud is what they're calling it, because free speech ideal was instilled in the DNA of Silicon Valley startups that now control online conversations. The ideal provided defendants with a marketing and business model which monetized the public speech of its consumers by inviting them to use the platform where the public is invited to post content, regardless of identity and viewpoint, subject to content-neutral rules that apply to everyone, and then they changed the rules. Now YouTube is globally saturated, and YouTube controls it Defendants admit they do so by discriminating, is what they're saying here. Defendants begin to compete with YouTubers in the proposed class. So they're saying that YouTube puts anti-LGBTQ advertisements or otherwise monetizes things that they believe should not be monetized, meanwhile demonetizing the LGBTQ plaintiffs. Defendants sought to use their worldwide consumer audience of YouTube users as a means for monetizing their own content, not hosting a platform for the public, having induced consumers to create video content and an audience in excess of 2 billion by promising to neutrally host content. Defendants commenced a plan to recapture revenues from third-party producers and distributors by using their content regulation system, which they're calling unlawful here, to monetize their own content by restricting third-party content. Okay, let's keep going. Defendants use a toolkit for unlawful speech suppression, restricted mode, and they go into what restricted mode is, blocking access to viewers, etc., advertising restrictions, so that's demonetization and such, filtering under restricted mode and under advertising restrictions, so what I'm going to call depromotion. That's something that I've been complaining about for a while. But again, like, you've heard me complaining about it. So isn't sort of anecdotally, aren't I outside of this? I'm having the exact same problems they're having, and I'm not an LGBTQ plus channel. I'm going to be the first to cry out discrimination when it happens. Like, really, I'm going to be first in line. So I'm really not big on defending this kind of behavior. I feel for the plaintiffs, and I'm on their side. I just don't, like, if they had come to me with this lawsuit, I'd be telling them it's a Hail Mary. Maybe they know that. Maybe they know that, and this is a Hail Mary. And I mean the football Hail Mary. I don't mean the, religious Hail Mary. Deletion of content thumbnail images. I got a problem with this one. So you remember when YouTube they even announced it. They were going to start putting their own thumbnail images on your videos for like a little bit of time, like a couple weeks, just to see which works better and whether YouTube's algorithm could really come up with a good thumbnail or something. And that was for everybody. And they're saying that this was done to LGBTQ plus plaintiffs, and so that's some kind of discrimination. The new video notification problem that we talked about earlier, the up next recommendations, the anti-LGBTQ advertisements before LGBTQ plaintiffs' videos. That just sounds like keyword advertising. I don't know if that's discriminatory, but sure, that's an argument. Including hate speech in the comments section. I'm not sure what they mean by YouTube would be including hate speech in the comments section. Several well-respected investigative journalists report that YouTube assists and is the weapon of choice for gay-bashing dictators, etc. Because why? Just because of its reach? They're saying it's because of its reach. That YouTube has extraordinary reach, and so by republishing the comments and not, I guess, automatically filtering them out or something. I mean, I believe there's automatic filters. You can even add keywords to the filters yourselves. Okay, so fair warning, we're about to put some of these things on the screen. If you don't want to see someone hating on a gay person, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's not nice. So if you don't want to see it or you don't want to show it to your kids or whatever, just cover their eyes or something. I won't read it out loud, but there's some of the things they're talking about here. Again, this is definitely not even close to the worst of it. These just seem like people who do not like gay people. And then here's some more comments. And then I'm going to scroll it up off the screen. So there we go. It's up off the screen now. Plaintiffs generally must spend substantial time and energy using defendants' word filters in the comment section to remove hate speech. Okay, they have to moderate their comment section. I mean, we have to moderate our comment section too. I'm 100% sure that their comment section is going to get a different kind of person than ours, and probably has to deal with more hate speech than we do. I'm not minimizing that, but I'm not sure that's a legal claim. Plaintiffs strongly support the right to free speech, etc. That does not extend to defendants' promotion of anti-LGBTQ plus hate speech. Okay, so other speech restricting tools is removing comment section entirely. Let's see, defendants were caught censoring users in 2017. Okay, and that's where they're saying that they considered LGBTQ plus to be sexually explicit. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that there aren't people who, doesn't, regardless of gender or sexual orientation, there aren't people out there who just cross the line and they're a little bit too explicit. Yes, you're going to get them on all ends of the spectrum. YouTube's promises were empty lip service. Sure, went over that a little bit. Will they continue to violate the rights of users? Let's go into some examples here. As part of the partnership program, so they're in the partnership program, they're going to complain about the partnership program. They relied on the partnership program. These are same arguments I would make if I was going to make these if I was going to go make these claims, but I wouldn't have brought these claims because I don't think there's any chance of this happening. But that's just a professional disagreement. I'm not trying to minimize or I am definitely not trying to say that they don't have a case here. I just mean, like, from the sidelines, it doesn't seem very strong. I'm trying to be polite here. Defendants refused to sell Divino all of the advertisements it applied to purchase. On at least 8 separate occasions, Google YouTube barred Divino from purchasing ads or monetizing its news and event show because defendants had determined in their discretion that the content was sexually explicit or shocking or offensive. So it sounds like they couldn't monetize the videos and they couldn't sell promotions of the videos. This is something we haven't done yet. If someone wants to reach out to us and tell us the proper way to do this, Google is very good at making you accidentally spend all of your money. Divino purchased multiple advertisements to secure minimum of 1,000 subscribers, so he's advertising the channel to get to 1,000. So that sounds like financial reliance right there, actually, doesn't that? Defendants changed the YouTube partnership program so that only creators with 10,000 lifetime views would qualify. So he's saying that the channel was working on getting its 1,000 subscribers, and then they changed the terms, and so they've detrimentally relied. That's a prima facie case. That's an argument right there. Divino was prohibited from advertising a holiday news and events show created for LGBTQ persons because defendants labeled the video as shocking content. When plaintiff inquired as to what portion, if any, of the video content on a holiday event show was inappropriate, an employee of Google AdWords stated the video content discusses or expresses the gay thing or is created by a user who identifies as LGBTQ+, or gay, violates company policy against advertising or monetizing of shocking and sexually explicit content. Okay, so we're probably going to see more and more of this in here. Let's continue. So they've done a lot of episodes of G News. It is always intended to be a positive and affirming news source where you get all your gay in a day. That should not be an offensive like promo phrase or catchphrase. That doesn't sound offensive to me at all. Inasmuch as G News is subject to the same criteria that governs all YouTubers, G News is typical of YouTube content produced and uploaded by other YouTuber members of the proposed class. So others have had these similar issues. And they'll keep going. Episode 60 included an image of bare buttocks. Defendants applied restricted mode to the video solely because of the image of bare buttocks. However, defendants routinely allow their favorite creators to post similar images on videos which are not posted in restricted mode, age-gated, or demonetized. So yeah, there's other YouTube creators. I think they're saying James Charles has a video which is not age-restricted where bare buttocks appear. Okay? So they're calling out the double standard. I appreciate that. If you go anywhere near my Twitter, you'll see a million hashtag double standards because I hate that crap. I hate double standards. It's one of my biggest pet peeves. So let's keep going. We really have to move through this quickly here. There is a lot. It has happened to Bria and Chrissy as well. They demonetized their videos. 10 ways to know you're in love. Why did that not pop up there? 10 ways to know you're in love. Even though it has 97% likes, which tends to indicate that it's not an awful video or something, it's not suitable for advertising. 10 ways to know you're in love does not sound like anything so far out there that it can't be monetized. Let's see what else we got here. What's this? To protect minors featured in your content, some videos in your channel may have comments disabled. See, that was done when there was the thing in February where they exposed how, I gotta say the words carefully, there were users or viewers who, after a certain pattern of viewership, would get directed to videos, and the categories of videos would basically, the algorithm, in my conclusory opinion, the algorithm messed up. It worked perfectly, is what I'm saying, but it didn't understand humanity, and it directed what it thought were the proper directions to viewers who wanted to watch videos of children. But then when you went to the comments section, the viewers had left comments which consisted of timestamps so that other viewers would be able to conveniently click on all the timestamps. Great, right? Yeah, so the other viewers were probably not children. They were probably adult people who wanted to see children, and the timestamps, when you clicked on them, they were all times where in the videos the child was in some kind of compromising position. I really don't want to go further into describing it. Obviously, some kind of inappropriate behavior. That was why they disabled comments sections where children featured prominently. That was at least a stated reason. That sounds like a legitimate reason. It sounds like a reason that's going to survive, it's going to be persuasive in a motion to dismiss. So they continue to use the unlawful and anti-competitive language. Let's see, Chase Ross had some issues as well. The unsubscribing issue, the stripping of custom thumbnails, the demonetizing of videos, etc. Let's see what this is here. Now, I can understand that first one. Looks like a review of an adult toy. I could be wrong, but that might be why that appeared in restricted mode. I don't know if that has anything to do with, like, it doesn't, that's part of being an adult. That doesn't have anything to do with being homosexual or not, or LGBTQ or not. We'll continue. Just scroll through here, kind of spot checking it. Defendants do not censor other transgender pouch product reviews posted by other video creators. Videos searching for pouch packers with restricted mode will see this. Viewers searching for pouch packers. It looks like they're saying other people get to see pouch packers. I'm not entirely sure what a pouch packer is. Somebody explain it to me in the comments. Let's see. What's the safe word? 227 videos. They got demonetized, restricted mode, etc. Now here they're going through, now these videos, they're wearing leather and latex. Now again, all by themselves, leather and latex aren't necessarily illegal or whatever, but on one hand, let's be clear that leather and latex are associated with adult activities. Doesn't necessarily mean it has to be LGBTQ activities. Keep my mouth shut. Okay, so we're about to see the bare buttocks, by the way. Everybody who doesn't want to see the bare buttocks, look away. There is no sexual content to it, unless you consider bare buttocks without more sexual. So here is the bare buttocks. But then, okay, so this is the one that they're saying is monetized. This is the one where it's totally monetized, and it's a person smacking the bare buttocks. But that was okay, but the LGBTQ plus content was not. I get the argument. I'm kind of with them on that. Queer kids stuff is another one. They post some parents' letters saying that they enjoy the channel. And so they go into class action allegations where they want to represent everyone as a class. And they have 1 million allegations here. Let's see, California Constitution, Article 1, Section 2, which let's see what that says. Protects the liberty of speech and association. So it's the state free speech law. Then the California Civil Rights Act, that they owe some kind of access to the public. And since they promise neutrality and diversity of viewpoints, and then don't deliver on those promises, and people rely, etc., that they're guilty of that violation. Here we've seen it before, the California Business and Professions Code 17200, 17,200, and they're claiming that it is unfair competition. then breach of implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing. This is the one that I thought you might be able to get YouTube on. I never found a strong enough case, and I was never courageous enough to put forth a complaint like this, but there you go. There we're gonna hear about the implied covenant of good faith and fair dealing. The Lanham Act, that's trademark, and they're asking for relief, all the relief. Cease and desist mostly, statutory damages, compensatory damages, special damages, civil penalties, punitive damages, restitution, attorney's fees, interest, and all other relief. So that is a remarkable complaint. I still don't think it's going to survive a motion to dismiss, but I'm not, I mean, who am I? I'm just an armchair attorney who is sitting here on a YouTube channel evaluating this. Certainly, these attorneys might know better what's going to fly in California than I do. I don't practice in California, and I don't want anybody to think that they should make decisions about their case based upon my analysis of this. But for legal education purposes, I don't think that this is a strong claim. I think that what's happening is terrible, and I fully agree that something should be done. And I support discussing and doing everything we can. I don't understand why YouTube is so closed to telling us what goes on. The argument that if you told us why you're demonetizing our videos, that we would then find a way around the filters doesn't make any sense. We're doing the exact thing now of trying to find the way around the filters, not because we are trying to skirt the filters, but because we have no idea what the filters are. And so I'm adjusting my behavior like crazy every time something gets demonetized and trying to figure out why. Why was the vape parody, which discusses every word under the sun, why was that remonetized, but I couldn't talk about the flag burning guy? Like, I really don't understand. The flag burning guy was talking all about patriotism and being a citizen of the world and caring about your fellow man, and nothing in there was weird except for that he protests by burning a flag. Like, everything in there was actually super wholesome. So why was that demonetized? And then why was the extended interview of that fully monetized? And then why did that suddenly get demonetized, even though it was confirmed remonetized? And then I appealed that by blowing up YouTube support for an hour and a half until they told me they'd help me. And then they remonetized my video. Why did I have to go through all of that? And the vape thing, I didn't. And why do I have to go through any of that at all? I don't understand it. I'd like to see it fixed, but I also don't feel like it's because of my sexuality. But we can all disagree, or we all have a different perspective, and we can all bring our perspective to the table. Let us know what you think in the comments. And I just want to say, even after such a contentious discussion, I do love you all of you. Even if you disagree with me, I still love you. I may mute you on Twitter, but I still love you. So thank you for joining me. That is our show. I am Leonard French, your favorite copyright attorney, and this is Lawful Masses, your favorite legal education program. Can I say that? Nobody's trademarked that, right? Thank you to our patreon.com/LJFrench supporters and our sponsors.org/law supporters. At the $500 plus level, Joshua Davis is still sponsoring on behalf of TandaPay. We are working on a video all about how TandaPay works in the hope of making it or at least giving it a chance as a really cool social insurance program that's based on the blockchain. Thank you to our $50 plus supporters: John Steele, Gavin Barnard, Eevi, Kyle Mudrak, Michael Pearce, John Negrey, Blackleaf, Spirit Bear, Daniel Perez, Snorre Wisotzky, NotMike, Joe Tyson, and King Macro. And thank you to the $5 supporters who are scrolling on the LED panel behind me. All of you will be in the description of the videos that drop. I'm Leonard French, your favorite copyright attorney. I'll see you in dog video here when the videos drop. And otherwise, I love you, and I'll see you on the live streams. Wednesday night at 7 p.m. and Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. on twitch.tv/lawfulmasses. Love you all. Have a good one. Bye.
To let it go. got to let it go. You got to let it go. Baby, you got to let it go.